Welcome back to Golf Xtra. Brandel Chamblee is one of the more recognizable names in professional golf media today, not only for his comprehensive takes on golf technique and history, but also for his often strong viewpoints on hot golf topics. This is especially true of LIV Golf and some of its more visible members like Phil Mickelson. So a recent Golf magazine interview with Chamblee was highly anticipated to get his views on these issues in an even more candid situation. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this one. Now let's get right into Brandel Chamblee's recent comments on the future of golf, Phil Mickelson, and much more. Like many golf lovers, Brandel Chamblee fell in love with the game at a very young age. By the time he was 13 years old, growing up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Chamblee knew that golf was a passion that he would dedicated his time to. In a recent interview with Golf magazine, he remembered, "My dad said to me, 'I'll take you at any hour you want.' I would wake up at 4:30 and knock on his door, and he'd take me to the golf course so that I'd be there right when the sun came up in the summer. And they'd pick me up when the sun went down, and I just fell in love with it." It's apparent that Chamblee had a great love for golf, but that wasn't what eventually allowed him to become a professional golfer. It was the same work ethic that kept him at the course from sunup to sundown as a teenager. Chamblee says, "I wasn't Fred Couples, I wasn't Jack Nicklaus, I wasn't Tiger Woods, I wasn't Rory McIlroy. I wasn't blessed with that kind of athleticism they had. I was a good athlete, a very good athlete, but I wasn't. Those are once-in-a-generation athletes, but they didn't outwork me. I had the work ethic. Nobody was going to outwork me." That work ethic carried Chamblee through a successful collegiate career at the University of Texas, Austin, and eventually a long journeyman pro career. However, he doesn't think that he kept up the same abilities in golf after getting over-instructed by many experts near the end of his amateur career. On that subject, Chamblee said, "I played for 20 years as a pro, but I don't think I was ever as good as I was when I was in college. My best year on tour, I think I finished 37th on the money list. And I'd gotten better every single year up to that point, when I'd started playing for the tour from '88 on. If I had to do it over again, of course I wouldn't listen to the instructors. You don't get to make those choices again. But that's also the reason I'm sitting here now, is because of that curiosity and my love of golf. The golf swing, the passion for it, it directed me more towards an analytical role than a professional golfer role." However, a family tragedy was what ultimately led Chamblee to give up the road warrior lifestyle of a professional golfer and instead dedicate his time to golf media. He said in the interview, "Family is the reason I went from playing competitive golf to doing TV. I had a tragedy in my family. I lost a child. And if you read any literature on that, it's catastrophic to relationships. So I came home because I had to try to mend things. And I thought TV would be a way for me to be home a lot more and to be more present. So that's kind of how TV came about." Just as he is honest about his family situation that led him to do media full-time, Chamblee is known for being equally honest about his thoughts on all things professional golf. This includes LIV Golf, which Chamblee has long been critical of. Chamblee has been especially critical of players like Phil Mickelson and Brooks Koepka, who he feels have abandoned professional golf and taking Saudi-backed money to play on a rival tour. The shock announcement of a merger agreement between LIV and the PGA Tour earlier this year stunned many in the golf world, but given how well-connected Chamblee is, it's especially interesting to get his thoughts. About the day of the announcement, Chamblee said, "You know, it was incomprehensible to me. For a while I thought, well, this can't be real. I had driven my wife, who is traveling with a group of girlfriends, to the airport. I had gotten out of my car, walked her to the plane, gave her a kiss on the cheek, got back in the car, and I had 50 text messages. And I thought, this can't be real. Somebody's pulling my leg here. I'm being punked." As we all now know, though, it is real, and Chamblee had to come to terms with the ramifications, saying, "You start to put yourself in your shoes like, why would they do this? You're like, their financial situation had to be so bleak. And then, of course, there had to be legal vulnerabilities on both sides that needed to be quelled. And you think, okay, there's no way they make that deal unless that's the case. And you don't know that, but you can pretty much assume it." Chamblee was also the target of mockery on the announcement day by two players that he's targeted himself in the past in Koepka and Mickelson, who both tweeted some cheeky, victorious-sounding messages directed towards Chamblee. Brandel hit back against these barbs in the Golf magazine interview, saying, "The Brooks thing and the Phil thing, one, I thought it was childish on their part, but two, I thought it was a bit ignorant, because it wouldn't have been hard to look at if it was actually a merger with the tour. That means they all lost their jobs that day, and their new boss, the person they were going to have to come through, was Jay Monahan. So they're all walking around like peacocks thinking they got promoted when they got fired. But it goes with who they are. If you look at the people that defected for the most part to LIV, they were self-absorbed, narcissistic types who wanted to pound their chest and act like they're being a force for good, all the while knowing that they're a force for evil, a force for the decay of the game of golf, and they're really just out for their own narcissistic greed. That's certainly a unique perspective from Chamblee, but that's what he's known for. He also thinks that the LIV PGA agreement is far from finished, which could open things up for a very different kind of partnership with an alternative investor. On that subject, Chamblee said, "Well, I think if the deal doesn't go through, it will open the tour up to clean, good monetary investment. And the Saudi wealth fund people love to say that they have all the money in the world. A $650 billion investment fund it's laughable to think that represents all the money in the world. There's something like $140 trillion of money floating around the world that you could call somewhat clean and good to be invested in the tour. And it's opened up the eyes of a great many people who have good, clean, honest money who want to invest it in golf. And now that the model is to have some for-profit operation as part of the PGA Tour, they could come in and perhaps save golf from its alliance." Chamblee had further comments for his frequent adversary in Phil Mickelson, who he lambasted for his position as a key leader in LIV Golf, and therefore in the Saudi effort to invest in sports, in saying, "Look, Phil is in an indefensible position morally. There's nothing Phil could say to me about LIV that would have any merit. What he's doing is morally indefensible, and he knows it. And people that are close to him know it, and he knows that. So what Phil is doing is trying to sell a lie, and nobody sounds more insincere or stupid when they're trying to sell a lie. And that's what he's trying to do. And that's what Mohammed bin Salman is trying to do. And that's what LIV's trying to do. They're trying to sell a lie, and I'm not buying it." After all of this is done, though, Chamblee wants to get back to his original passion for golf. In the end, that's what he thinks back to, getting up at the break of day and just playing the game he loves. Now, as a TV analyst, he gets to talk about the game he played professionally for 20 years, which he knows is a privilege. Chamblee finished his interview by saying, "Yeah, I'd look forward to getting back to just talking about golf and golf swings. I mean, I love looking at golf swings and trying to connect dots. I love that. I look forward to it as much as I used to look forward to getting up and hitting golf balls." Comment with your thoughts and make sure to subscribe for more content like this. We'll catch you in the next one.